All right. So, anyway, uh, a movie just reminded me of what I was talking about yesterday. It's called "Give Me Shelter." Right. I'm not giving no whatever. I'm not. It's just points out an example. All right. Just gonna say, what does this movie have to do with what you were talking about yesterday? Because when you talk to idiots, I'm talking about either, like I said, you could be discussing this with a elderly person in their 70s. You know, they might be black. They grew up in a rough neighborhood in the fucking 60s and 70s. You know, so they. Anyway, the point is, these are the ones I'm talking about who, instead of using their brain and listening to what someone is saying, and like I said, they're young dudes like this. They're not listening. They point out, the movie is about a young girl from about 14 or whatever, 15, 16. She's pregnant, got turned out on the streets. Her mother is also a crackhead. She's young. uh, Israel Darrell's Arson and Vanessa Hudgens. But anyway, so she obviously she had a baby young, and she was on drugs in the 90s or whatever, and she still is. So they'll point out stuff like this in real life. That's why you want to legalize drugs and make like, bitch, did you listen to what I fucking said? All of that wouldn't have fucking happened. How in the hell are you gonna turn people out when something is legal to buy? This like holding up a during prohibition, yeah, it was rough to get alcohol. They had the same thing, the prostitutes and all that in the shot houses, and all this. But it was fucking legal. Hey, I got this. I got the bottle of Hennessy. You could say, well, women still. That's different. She likes to do. She went out looking for that at the bar. You bought her a couple of drinks. She wasn't shaking and selling herself to get a drink. She went out, and as a woman, she know there'll be some dude that'll buy her a drink. That's totally different. And she chooses to do whatever, because dude was nice, maybe good looking, and bought her a drink. That's totally different than being turned out for drugs. All right, like it has been for the last 40 years. All on the street shaking, talking to themselves, scratching, dirty, stinky, haven't taken a bath, using the bathroom out in the street, not eating for drugs. You can't hold that over somebody's head. And I ain't talking about the hypocrites. I'm talking about the drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? Watch the movie. If you want to use movies as an example, watch like the movie New Jack City and Chris Rock's character Pookie. There would be no Pookies if it was never illegal. Who started this? Richard Nixon in the 70s. The historians are telling us that's who started the war on drugs, really. Then Reagan, and in the 80s with the cracks. Nancy Reagan and her just say no policy. And honestly, again, a younger dude, he's working at the VA. He's about 5 years younger than me. Anyway, again, he's using the gang stalk and with the I know everything. Me, because at that time it was here, and I was complaining about some things at the VA, and I was saying what I was gonna do. And I'm like, I'm gonna go to the patient advocate, right? So again, that's me. Not to them. It's me being a know-it-all, not them knowing, like doing their homework because you're gang stalkers. You've been following me. That in my old city, that VA, they made it known. Basically like anything that cares about their job performance. They made it. If you have a problem, see that woman downstairs in that, you go talk to her. She's the patient advocate. And about a couple of years ago, when in the United States they were talking about all the VAs having problems, that hospital wasn't on that list. But guess which hospital was? Yeah, right here was on that list. I even got everybody got the automated call from the hospital, not because of the news, but because of the mistakes they had made. See what I'm saying? But that hospital years ago that told everybody off the top when you start coming there about the patient advocate was never on that list. See what I'm saying? This is the gangster. You're like, how is that? I'm just saying that's where I just happen to be in places where I learned things from people who was basically caring about themselves. It really was. But in the long run, you end up getting good service because they watching their ass. They covering their ass. See what I'm saying? These idiots look at it as showing off. kissing ass. No, bitch, they're concerned about their career. So they're like, if somebody else dropped the ball, you have a problem, and they don't want to fix it, you come to me. These idiots, they take it as, oh, you're a know-it-all. Oh, everybody has problems. We all have to jump through hoops. That's how they go through life. They'll tell a person, oh, we all have problems. No, dumb bitch. You should be worried about your fucking job. Right? Stupid ass. That's where I get my attitude from. I don't know why I was like that throughout my life. I always learn things from the people who were worried about their fucking jobs, and they passed that. When they're teaching me, they taught me the way they learned that. Well, you gotta do this. Just, hey, you ain't, like I said, there ain't no all the way to the left, you kissing ass, all the way to the right, you don't give a fuck. Somewhere in the middle, you're just doing a good job. You can have that. It's not you're double-minded and all of that. No, it's just balance. You have a just balance. So anyway, I broke off into another story again. The guy, he was younger. He said, "You were the." And just say no. I'm like, nah, actually, I'm a little bit too old. I remember those commercials. I remember the episodes of Different Strokes, the very special episode. But with Arnold and, the drugs. But to me, honestly, until he just said it, this is like in 2015. Up here, I had been up here like a year or so. And I'm like, all that time when I was in school, I thought it was to keep you from selling drugs. Seriously, keep kids from selling. And I thought, because, I remember particularly I'm standing across the street from my school, and a car painted, it was a Porsche, painted with the Dare colors. Now, the police had confiscated it. And they drove it. And I assumed that because it was from another police district and from another city. So I thought, it's one of them cars. He must have been doing the show, it's just for funny. We all seen it. Literally, you probably seen a drug dealer that we all knew drive by 2 minutes later, with a fancy car. But so, and actually, what I thought, in the 80s, after a while, it started. Everybody had the dream of going to the U.S. Marshals auction and buying a Lamborghini for like $200. In the late 80s. Everybody's thinking about that. Oh, getting a house getting a mansion for like $1,000. How the word started spreading. They confiscating once they drug raid. So anyway, you knew that car had been confiscated. I didn't think, as you get older, and I'm an adult, I'm in the military. You're talking about the old days. The drug dealers you knew, whatever. You're thinking there was to keep kids from selling drugs, becoming, the low level on the corner in the house selling drugs, the nickel and dime, trying to work your way up. I'm like, it was to keep kids from. I never understood that concept that kids do drugs. I'm sorry, that's just me. It's not how we grew up. There wasn't no shootings because they were doing drugs. They might have been doing drugs, but for the most part, it's about drug territory, selling drugs and shit like that. So anyway, again, that goes to show they just don't think. They're being told, they look at a horror, and they'll show them a picture of a crack baby or a 14-year-old strung out on crack who's pregnant, and so they don't listen. They shut you down. Shut up! No! That's just stupid. You're stupid. You're gonna you want to legalize that? Bitch, it wouldn't be the same, fool. It wouldn't be Pookie and Ray Ray on the corner fucking selling crack. Dumbass. It would be regulated. It wouldn't be crack made in Bolivia by Paco in a hut. He's only getting paid like $2 a day. By the time it gets to America, it's worth millions of the fucking dollars and shit. No, bitch, it'd be getting made in some fucking pharmaceutical warehouse in Kansas or something, wherever Pfizer makes drugs. Regulated, regulations, all this type of shit, stupid bitch. And it wouldn't be $10 for a small little piece. It'd be whatever how much it costs. I don't know how they would sell it. You have the fucking whoever regulations, whoever regulates all that have to decide all that. But we as people, we can have some control. Vote out. If they don't want to do nothing, vote these motherfuckers out. All right. So also, I am saying this to give the gang stalker, something to talk about. Instead of, I guess maybe it's something telling me it's time to throw them some yarn, like you throw a kitten or give something to kids to play with. So they could play with this for the next couple of days. Me saying this, they're gonna have to do, to prove I'm wrong, or or to prove that I'm stupid, or I think I'm a know-it-all. So yeah, this also is to give them something to do. But like I said, it's something that everybody can do. It wouldn't. Don't believe it when they say, "Oh, what about all the years and all the drug addicts on the street and that and the home." It don't believe all that. And also, I don't know. Maybe we'd have to get over the vendetta part of our dead friends and the ones who went to prison, and uh, and just end the whole fucking thing. Everybody gonna have to give up something. The whoever they are gonna have to give up the idea that they're degenerates and they need to this. Everybody's gonna have to give up the revenge part and just end the shit. Call it quits. But yeah, y'all working on this for a while, for the next couple of days, and I'll get the rest of my ideas out there for y'all.